My next guest just picked up his first UFC victory this past weekend at UFC Fight Night 121. It is Frank Camacho joining me here on the program. Frank, how are you?
Man, good morning and happy Thanksgiving to everyone. I feel great. I feel good, man. Thank you for having me on the show again.
No problem. It's good to talk to you. Just commenting, man, you're looking pretty good for a guy who was in a pretty big war this past weekend. Safe to say everything's pretty healthy for the most part?
Man, I feel good, and I'm not as sore as I was with the Leech fight. Man, after the Leech fight, I felt like I got hit by a truck, but I don't know what it is. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. It feels good. I feel better. I feel good. I mean, aside from that.
But that's just, battle scars, right? That's the stuff that all the girls like, right? So
yeah.
It's sort of just, it comes with fighting and all that, right? So it's perfect. And I mentioned off the top there, man, congratulations on the win. Big moment for you getting the UFC victory. But I got to know, when you went to the scorecards, being in Australia, worried at all that maybe that decision wasn't going to go your way?
Man, I think I was slightly, but I was very confident, man. I kept the pressure on, and I was just very confident that I was going to get the win.
Yeah, and take me through that moment once they announce your name and everything like that. I mean, all the work you've put into this, and they announce that you've won the fight. I mean, just what's going through your mind at that moment?
So actually, what I didn't do the last fight with Leech was right after the fight. I kind of was embracing the whole moment, embracing everything, and I didn't raise my hand, but after this fight, I took his hand, and I raised his hand, so we both raised our hands in front of the fans, we put on a show. And I just remember I was like, man, I won this thing, I felt good, I felt confident, so I jumped on the cage. I don't know if you guys noticed that in the end, and I was like, yeah, okay, man, I pulled through. Yeah, even though we're in Australia against an Australian, an Aussie fan favorite, man, I felt like I did enough to pull the victory. I was kind of worried after the first round, but I was like, man, okay, I just got to push the pace and just keep it going for the second and the third.
Excellent. And of course, you ended up, getting the win. And how did you celebrate after the fight? Did you get to enjoy yourself this time?
What was actually pretty cool was having lunch after a war. Usually we're looking for late night. We're looking for late night diners that are open. But man, we went to the green room. We're like, guys, it's only like 2:00. This is crazy. We celebrated. We went with the team. We went to Sydney, saw the Opera House. We got to just check out all the sites. And man, Sydney is absolutely beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. What was the feedback like on social media after that win? Because again, you guys put on a great show, and I think everyone really got their money's worth.
Yeah, I mean, apparently that card, I didn't really stay for the whole card. I haven't seen the whole card yet, but apparently it was like the longest card in UFC history, like so many decisions. And I'm glad that Damien Brown and I got to put on a show for the fans, and at least, I guess have some excitement to the card that wasn't the most exciting, and again, it was just really, really cool to have that feedback, and for the fans and for the UFC to appreciate, the passion that I put in, man, wow, they really appreciate, after all these years, man, I'm just trying to get into the UFC, now they finally, people are like, oh man, dude, this guy put it all on the line, and I think that's my style. And, I like to be a clean and concise Anderson Silva back in the day, man, but I'm just going to get in your face. I'm going to move ahead and I'm going to box you up, and I just really appreciate that the fans appreciate my style.
And of course, you would have got some extra cash with the fact that unfortunately you missed weight ahead of this one. I hate to bring it up, man, but we got to quickly talk about it. And I wanted to point out two things for those who are watching. Sure. Number one, this wasn't Lockhart's fault, because you talked about that, and also it was an issue with water loading. It was a water load that just went wrong. Maybe for those who don't know, what exactly happened with the cut, and why did you miss weight?
Yeah, so I was the day before I was 4 pounds off, and I cut the water too early. It was all my fault, and I was on weight. And I was like, okay, during the water loading process, what George I was supposed to do with George, I cut the water. My body just ended up holding onto it, and that morning, man, I was in the hot tub or the night before, I had like a 2-hour session, and I got on the scale, and I only lost 1 pound. My body was, we were beat. It was crazy. And then I woke up that morning, got in the hot tub again, like 3-4 times. man, maybe a half a pound. So I was beaten, I was burned, and I didn't want to. I was in such bad shape that I didn't want to not give Brown the opportunity to fight in Australia. Like that's how bad it was, you know. Um, yeah, so I missed weight, and unfortunately I have to pay a freaking hefty price, man. I have to pay 50K for that, you know what I mean? And on top of that, the some of my purse, you know. Um, it is what it is, and the only thing I can do right now is just really assess, and it's definitely well needed results for me personally and for my career to for the future of Frank Camacho, you know?
Right. No, for sure. And that's a good way of looking at it, man. It's unfortunate. And it's too bad they didn't give him, that money and everything else, the full amount and all that.
Yeah, man, like, yeah. I was talking to my coaches about it, and I made the post, and I kind of, I didn't even, ask my manager about it. I just kind of, I feel like I owed that to him. Of course, it takes two to tango, right? It takes two to make a fight of the night, but, it's kind of, man, I love to bring back honor to the game of MMA. You know what I mean? Like all this smack talking and all this boomerang throwing.
Yes.
It's just, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, come on, man. I just remember I remember the old days of fighting that got me into it, man, the honor and the respect of competitors and leaving it all out in the cage and in the ring. But, Anyway, I owe that to him, and since I'm not eligible, I would love for the UFC, and I just humbly ask, that the UFC gives him my cut, or at least or donate it to a charity, because I know the funds are already allocated. But then again, it is a business, and then maybe it's a way for the UFC to really, really make a point for the roster, man. Hey, you got to make weight. You gotta. We're a professional organization, and it is what it is. But you gotta make weight, and that's the first part of the job, And I didn't do that, unfortunately, but at least the fans got to see got what they wanted, and we're only moving forward from here. So that's what I'm very excited about.
It's a good way of looking at it, man. Have you been training at all this week, or have you taken the entire week off? What's sort of been what does this last week sort of look like for you?
Today's the best that I feel I'm actually going to go get a run in. And look at the weather's nice.
Of course. Yeah. Don't remind me, man. We got cold weather here in Toronto.
I know, dude. So this is winter time right here,
Yeah. Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, I can't go for a swim. I wanted to jump in the ocean, but man, the doctor said just to kind of give it some time, but I'm going to go for a run. Just kind of my body needs to get a sweat, it's the sodium and the bloating. I'm just like, but yes, I can't wait to get back in there, man. And the fans have just been hitting me up and like throwing all these names at who they'd like me to fight, and I'm like, oh, okay, dude. It's so crazy hearing my name being thrown around with these names. So I'm super excited.
What's on the top of your list? Who would you like to fight next? Is there sort of an ideal opponent, or are you going to just let the UFC sort of handle business?
At the end of the day, right? It's the UFC and I'm managing everything. But dude, I would love to fight I would love to fight like Diego Sanchez. Like these guys that would just and not so much looking for the fight of the night, but someone that would just bring it, something that would highlight my style, and where I would have to dig down and learn about myself. Man, like a Diego Sanchez, a Joe Lozon, those are the two top guys on my list. But Diego Sanchez, man, it would just be an honor to share the cage with that monster.
Yeah, for sure. Who wouldn't want to fight the first guy who won the Ultimate Fighter, man, and a guy who's just been a legend, for so long. So that's a great pick.
Shoot, man, yeah.
I like it.
Man, yeah, so I would love to, yeah. And at 155, not at 160.
Right. Well, because I was going to say, because Diego, I don't think Diego wants to go back down to 55. Those days are done. He just wants to stay at 170. So you might have to bump up if you want to fight him.
Oh. Okay, man. Well, we'll see what happens. Man, I'm down for anything.
There you go. Perfect.
I'll fight anyone anytime,
When would you like to get back in the cage? Is there kind of like an ideal time for you when you want to get back in? I'm sure you want to enjoy the holidays, so maybe, February around there.
February sounds good. Yeah, February would be perfect. Or honestly, anytime, man, because I'm just itching to you know how like you're just as good as your last fight, and my last fight, like that last fight, I just learned so much, and I just can't wait to implement the next fight, you know. So I'm still in shape, you know, my weight is still down, so it's still low. So honestly, I have a 30-day suspension just for, you know, because how hard the fight was, you know. But man, after that, January, February, I'm in. I'll be ready.
Excellent. Last question for you here. Are you doing anything for Thanksgiving coming up here, American Thanksgiving and all?
Yeah, we are actually. We just got up. It is Thanksgiving Day today. We're gonna go have brunch, and then yeah, just check us out. Check me out on social media. I'm gonna be posting some cool photos of the beach and just an island style Thanksgiving.
Awesome. And where can people find you on social media? And who, if you got any thank yous or shout outs, the floor is yours, sir.
Oh yeah, man. Again, Dan, thank you guys so much for having me. Thank you for having me on the show, bro. And you can find me. Just search me on Instagram, Frank the Crank, Crank Effect on Twitter, Frank the Crank Camacho on Facebook, and yeah, you can just check out my YouTube channel and search Frank the Crank Camacho and the Crank Effect.
What's up, fight fans? If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to see even more interviews with your favorite UFC and Bellator fighters. We've also got coverage at events, including post-fight press conferences and media scrums. And if you like this video, check out the video to my right. It's worth your time.